Welcome back to Slothbox. This channel is proudly sponsored by Lionpool Security Services and the Excelsior Sporting Club.
I'm Lyndon Dixon, and today we're joined by super welterweight Jack Mcgann. Jack, how you getting on, mate?
I'm good, thanks, mate.
Good, that's what we like to hear. I want to go right back to the start, mate. How did you first get into boxing?
I first originally I started off in MMA.
Mm.
So my dad had a gym that ended up being one of the most successful gyms in the world in the world of MMA, and it was in some little sausage factory in Widnes. That's what it used to be. And opened up the Wolves there, and then he just got me into it because I think he just wanted me to be able to look after myself a little bit. And it was more so just I was in the gym all the time anyway. So I started training when I was like 8. I had some Thai boxing fights and jiu-jitsu competitions, and I was thinking about this. I've competed in everything except boxing. Like in as far as amateur fights and I know early on in my life. So but boxing was the one I really took to naturally, and always enjoyed that side of it the most. So I turned over. I had a couple of amateur MMA fights when I was younger, but it's not like it was now. It used to be like a bit taboo. It was like I remember my first fight. I was 13 and the other kid was 12, and the council were trying to stop it because they were like, yeah, it was mad, right? So just it was like, and then the kids were always, apart from that one, the kids were always bigger and older, and the rules would always change on the day, and it was just dead scatty. But it's not like it is now. Now it's like they've got world championships with amateur, and like pushing towards the Olympics and everything, and it's massive. But it wasn't back then. Anyway, I had a couple of fights in them. Turned pro when I was 19. Banged a load of fights out back to back. Done well. Ended up fighting for Bama. It's not around now, but it was like a big promotion. And then was fighting in Russia for the last 5 fights of me MMA fights on a big show with the big promotion and stuff. Got to see a good bit of the world there. And then finally at 25, that's when I changed over to boxing. But in that whole time, even in MMA, I always used to just do boxing in a boxing gym and spar boxers, pro boxers and stuff, just boxing obviously. So I always knew that I could make the jump, do you know what I mean? But that's how I started.
Mm. What made you choose to go from MMA to think, nah, I'm just going to stick with boxing?
Just originally it wasn't like I'm gonna change. It was like I'd always said, because like it's like I used to spar top guys in boxing. Like I go with either really good amateurs or good pros. Like I used to spar Martin a lot. Martin Buddy, who's now my
Yeah.
coach. But when he was getting ready to fight, and I'd always handle myself. Do you know what I mean? So it used to just be like, I used to say it'd be a shame not to have one boxing fight just because of how good I am at it. But what it was in me fight in Russia, I had a few decisions that didn't go my way over there because it was in Russia fighting Russians and whatever. And then the fights were tough as well, and I think I just come. And then at that time as well, I had my second to last fight. I got robbed like bad,
Mm.
and then my last fight was a mess as well. So, and then apart from that, the gym I was training in, there was stuff going on there as well where like the gym was sort of dying. Do you know what I mean? So there was a few moving parts to it, and I just had a bit of, I just fell out of love with it a little bit at that time. I just wanted a bit of a change, and that was just when McGregor had that fight with Mayweather, and the crossover thing was on everyone's lips. So it was just like well, let's have it for a start. And that was it. It was either I was done with that Russian promotion, so it was either I've been fighting away for 2 years, so it was either start again, yeah, with a new promotion in England, probably in a new gym, because I get on with all the lads in the gym and we coaches and stuff. I love them to bits, but it was just there was the gym was just needed a bit of it was going a bit stale. So it was like start again, everywhere, or it was like let's just while this crossover stuff's happening, let's see if we can jump on it and get somewhere. And then I made the switch with no amateur background in boxing, obviously at all. and me pro debut was on it, the Tyson Fury's comeback fight in Manchester with Frank Warren. So it was a good jump, and as I said to you, the plan originally was to have a couple of them boxing and keep the MMA going as well, but COVID got in the way of that a little bit, so that changed. But the idea was never like I'm done with MMA and I'm gonna switch to boxing, because I'm still open to having MMA fights now. It just depends on how it fits. You know what I mean? That's why I made the switch then.
But you mentioned there making a debut on a Tyson Fury card, let alone it be his comeback when everyone was watching. But how did that feel? Because you've gone from fighting all around the world, and like you say, in your last few fights you're getting robbed, and now you're on this huge stage on a Frank Warren show, a Tyson Fury undercard. That's mental.
Yeah, it was. It was like, you know what though? It was, I think, because the promotion I was with in Russia was massive. Like over there, no one's heard of it here because they don't try and come here. But over there, it was like the biggest promotion there. They were huge. The money they were spending on the shows and everything. So I was fighting in big arenas, like packed. So I think it would have been weird if it would have made me debut in a bit more of a conventional setting, like in a small hall or something. So it just felt like I was just the only difference was, okay, now I'm stepping into a ring, not a cage, and I can't kick and wrestle you and everything. But the big event thing felt just like what I was used to anyway. Do you know what I mean? But no, there was a few more bits of flesh to it as well, because like obviously, I got in contact with Robert Warren and Alfie Warren, my manager now, and they had all faith in me, and they were the ones who got behind me and made and got me on that bill and got me with Frank and everything to start off with. So I had the pressure from because up to that point it was just they were just going off our word. You know what I mean? It was like, oh yeah, I can box, you know, I'll be good. They come down and watch me spar a few times and stuff. They actually watch me spar Martin Murray, me coach now. He's like started my career off anyway. But like they hadn't seen me fight, so I had the pressure of them getting me on the back of getting me on the card, and then at the same time we filmed a documentary with Amazon, and it was like, can an MMA fighter go into boxing? And we filmed the whole camp and everything, and there was good money behind it. It actually, it looks good. I don't get any commission from that if you want to go and watch it, but it does, like it's I'm like one of them where I won't be able to watch this interview, but I can't stand the sound of my own voice. But we actually done it really well, and it comes off. It's good, you know what I mean. But anyway, so we filmed that, and then it didn't have an ending. The ending was that fight. So I remember, like, so the pressure was on from a few ways anyway, and then my dad was just like, just before we left it was in the MEN. Just before we left, my dad went, "You do know this is all gotta go. There's only one way this can all go tonight, you know." And he went, I'm not putting any pressure on you, but I've got to just say it. And I went, "Okay, thanks, Dad." But I went out and I got me. It was a 6 rounds against a good kid, and I stopped him in the third, I think. So thankfully, everything went the right way. But yeah, the pressure was on.
But since then, you've been on a roll, 8-0 with 1 draw, I think 5 knockouts. And last time out, you won the IBO European title. I mean, since you've made that crossover, like I say, everything's been on a roll. But how did it feel last time out to get that European strap?
Oh yeah, it felt like I was finally getting somewhere, it's more so the way the last 4 fights have gone since COVID. Because when COVID come, I was getting good momentum before that, and then I didn't box for 2 years because I think that I missed it. I missed it on both ends. So the weekend I was meant to fight was the weekend the world stopped. I missed it maximum on the maximum side this side, and then when I was finally going to come back, I got COVID bad and was bad for like 8 weeks, so I missed it then as well. I got my medical done a week before the fight, obviously to get the most time you can out of it. And they said you need a negative test to come in, and I didn't get a negative test. I got COVID then, so I missed it like as much as I could. But since I come back from COVID, really, that is when it's like finally all starting to come together. And since I've been with Martin and everything, so yeah, it finally feels like it's getting somewhere. But as far as getting a belt goes, um, I, it's hitting me dad's, and we're all dead proud of it. But just to even get that to him,
Mm.
you know, it meant a lot to all of us. So yeah, it's all going the right way.
Mm. You mentioned Martin Murray a few times, going from his sparring partner to now as your trainer. I was just wondering, what's that relationship like? Because you seem to get on like house on fire.
Yeah, it was funny. So I used to be. I started off when I was doing MMA. I was in Mcgann's gym.
Mm.
Mcgann was dead good to me, and I just in COVID and moved, and it just didn't work where the gym was in Bolton or whatever, a bit too far away. But I used to spar Martin, get ready to fight, and then when Robert and Alfie were gonna like shine me on, they said we need to watch your spar. So Martin comes on 4 rounds with me, he didn't have to. He just done that to help me, do you know what I mean? And then when COVID was on, I was actually I worked on the roads. I was on the water, and I seen Martin working as well and spoke to him. And then when I was back training, I was originally going to go with someone else, but they were sick, couldn't go with them. Sort of lost where to go, and just fell into place with Martin. But he's the time and the effort he puts into us is just unmatched by anyone, and he the respect I got for him is just off the scale. So, and apart from that, I know it's good having someone who's like just done it. It's not like he done it 20 years ago and he might have forgot what it was like and how hard it was and everything. So there's that. Plus, I've been around with my dad, with my dad owning the gym and me being around fighting for like forever, my whole life. I know a lot, and it takes a lot for someone to sort of it takes a lot for the situation for me to look at it and go, I don't really know the answer to that, or
Mm.
I've usually got a good head for everything, but anytime I'm like a bit stuck on something, I'll ask Martin or pick Martin's brain, and straight away he just comes out with an answer like that, where I wasn't even seeing it that way. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I'm probably blessed to have him on board as a coach.
Mm. But moving on back to the huge fight you got next. Just on that stage, it's mental. Fury and Ngannou. It's going to be one of the biggest fights that combat sports seen. Firstly,
Yeah.
before we get on to how do you think that fight's going to go? Because you got Ngannou trained by Mike Tyson, then you got Fury, probably the greatest of his generation. How do you see that going?
First of all, I think everyone's being a bit harsh towards it. Like everyone's saying, "Oh, it's just going to be like some people are calling it a joke and it's just a circus and whatever." First of all, I don't think you can really comment on Ngannou how it's going to go when no one's even seen a box.
Yeah.
I know there's that stat saying he's got the hardest punch in history and whatever, but whether he hits as hard as in a fight, whether he hits as hard as Deontay Wilder, whatever, but it doesn't matter. He's going to hit hard. He's a big lump of a man, and and that's it. And he's obviously training for a boxing fight all this time, and he's going to put his life and soul into it. So I think that it's not going to be a whitewash, and it'll be a good fight. I think one of the main things, one of the biggest things going against him is whether it's 10 rounds or 12 rounds. That'll be the main
Mm.
things. When I made the change, that was like one of the big things that he used to. So I think for the first six, that's his big chance to go for it. And I don't mean that doesn't mean he's gonna come out swinging or come out whatever. And it doesn't mean he can't do anything past that. But he'd be really dangerous for them first couple of rounds. And I think it's just gonna be interesting. And just on that, what's it gonna be like for the first couple of rounds? That's what everyone's tuning in for.
Yeah.
And and that's it. And anyone who says, "Oh, I'm not gonna watch it" or whatever, they are. You just are. Everyone's gonna watch that. So I think like everyone's saying, Tyson should have fought X, Y, and Z before he had a bit of a fun fight like this. But I think this is the only time it could have happened.
Mm.
Because if you look into the details of it, Ngannou turned down a contract with the UFC, which is the biggest payout that the UFC have ever done on a contract, and he turned it down with this in mind, knowing he was getting this. So what he wouldn't have sat around for like a year and a half while Tyson had them other big fights to then have a fun one. So I think it has to happen now, which is a side of it. You know what I mean? But regardless of what I think's gonna happen, everyone's gonna watch to see what happens. You know what I mean? And I think with that press conference they had the other day, you can see the money that they're spending on it for
Yeah.
this event. And that's all Frank Warren said from the word go. He's like, it's going to be the biggest event, one of the biggest events ever, and I think that's what it is. And he keeps using the word event because it's different than a normal fight. It's going to be special.
But the fact that you're on the event, there's something else added to it as well. You're fighting the son of one of the greats, Roberto Duran, his son Roberto Duran Jr.
Yeah,
Firstly,
that's
that's
it.
just crazy. That's a crazy sentence to say. But
Yeah, I know.
how do you
No.
feel about that going into that? Have you seen much of it?
Yeah, I've seen little bits. He's a tidy little boxer. That's if we get him, it's going that way. Like, but it's not fully over the
Yeah,
line. You know what I mean? But no, it should be like, yeah, and it's just, even if the way you just said, then it's all crazy. So I'm fighting inside on the Tyson and Ngannou fight, and I could be fighting son of a Berthold do you know what I mean? So it's like it's like something out of a dream. You know what I mean? So no, I can't wait for it.
but coming back to you, I just want to talk a bit about the ambition in boxing because since you've made that crossover, you fell in love with it. Last time out, you got the European title. I was just wondering. Obviously, everyone wants to be world champion, but when you're an old man and you're sat there with your grandkids or your kids, what do you want to be able to tell them you've done in boxing?
Obviously, obviously you want to wear a title in anything. But it's I always like and the reason I didn't just say, oh, I want to win a world title straight away like automatic is because there's so many steps in the way of that. You know what I mean? So obviously it's like me sitting here going, I'm gonna come up with a multi-million pound business. But you don't do that. You go, I'm gonna make a business and then I'm gonna step towards this and then it grows and grows and steps and steps and steps. So it's like I've got to just keep winning fights to get to. But if I wanted to turn around and at the end of it go, um. It's like when I fought in Russia, I like being able to say, "Oh, I fought around the world a little bit, and I was involved in these big events." So, like this one in Saudi, this would be something I imagine I'll always look back on and go, "I've done that, and I was part of that," because it's a bit of history. You know what I mean? So, I want to be in as many big fights as I can, and obviously come out of it and have me and be healthy, which is the main thing. But just see the world, and I think I'll just be happy with make a good living out of it, obviously, because that's your standard. Win as many titles as I can, whether that's a world title or British title or anything, and turn around and be like, I done something what I love doing, and I put everything into it, and I was happy with the time, with the years I spent doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, last question from me. It's been a pleasure speaking to you so far, mate. But obviously, we spoke about it a lot. You've got this massive fight coming up. But when it comes to Christmas and you're sat there with your family, what do you hope to have done by the end of the year? And what will you be looking to do next year? What's the plan?
Like Christmas. Well, just get another stoppage on this. This is my big chance. This next fight, it's going to be all the world's eyes are going to be on it, and I want to highlight real knockout like I've got in my last couple, and like I've done in the past so many times. So I can, I've been waiting for my chance to get to the door of it of the world stage and show everyone what I can do, and I'm looking to boot it off the hinges. I have a big massive fight behind me in October, and then the way it's going as well. I was unlucky not to not to fight for the British about now as well. So if I can have this big fight in October and then if everything lines up correctly, go for the British next day, early next year, that'd be a good year for me.
Well, mate, that sounds like a cracking plan. But anyway, like I said, thanks so much for your time. I've been Linda Dixon. It's been Jack Mcgann, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thanks, Nathan. Nice one, mate.
Cheers.